Well, I'm Ryan.
I'm Anne.
I'm Monica.
And what do we like to do as a family?
We like to play games. We like to do a lot of board games, card
Watch
games.
Superhero movies.
Yeah.
Anne's big into Harry Potter. That keeps her going, and spend a lot of time chasing the dog and little brothers around.
And musicals. She likes musicals a lot.
We get to enjoy Anne's musicals every time she takes a shower, and she sings for us all at the top of her lungs.
Right now, I'm in Seussical Junior at the Center for Living Arts. It's an amazing theater for children, and they have high school shows. Yeah.
So Anne was born on May 8th of 2008, and we were excited to have our second daughter, and we went in just for her 2-week checkup as an infant, and her pediatrician caught a murmur. And so at 2 months we went and met with Dr. Vicki Peevich and her staff, and had an echo and an EKG done at that time, and turned out she had a pulmonary stenosis.
Kind of the thinking was that as kids grow out of these things. The murmur would grow shut. The anatomy would, as she grew and it changed, that it would kind of take care of itself. And so.
And we went in just for regular checkup. And Dr. Peevich and her staff thought that maybe there was something that was a little bit different that they weren't used to seeing. And so we went January of 2019 and had an MRI done in Iowa City. The cardiologist kind of had me come out, and he was very matter of fact and just was like, well, Anne has what's called a PAP VR, and she will need open heart surgery, and we will follow up with you shortly to figure this out. When he first said open heart surgery, it was honestly one of those things where I was like, did I just understand that correctly? But it was
Shock.
a shock. Thank you. That's the word that I'm looking for. Yeah, just shock of like, is this really happening?
Well, and it turned out that her situation was nothing like what we thought it was either. Anne had a hole in the chambers between her heart. And so when her heart would squeeze to push blood out, some of it was backfilling into the other chamber where it shouldn't go. And so what happened once they got in there and found out what was going on, there was a vein that was on the wrong side of that wall.
I was very scared. I was laying in the back seat, I remember. I started crying, and I was like, I don't know what I'm scared about, just this whole thing. My poor 5th grade teacher, it was her 1st grade teaching, and I was like, surprise! So she was very nice and helpful throughout all that and helping me keep up with school and stuff. The few friends I told, I remember one friend, I remember her reaction. She was like, wait, what? And she was very confused.
The day of the surgery, when we went that morning, Anne was she was pretty worked up.
Yeah, I didn't really show it. The only thing is, when we got there, right outside the elevator, luckily there was a trash can right there. I puked because I was just from nerves.
It's such a helpless feeling to send your child into surgery, and I think that was probably the hardest thing. I remember the doctor or the nurse practitioner or whatever explaining to us the heart-lung machine, and trying to understand that was... I didn't think about it, that her heart would have to stop in order for this to happen. That was
a tricky one. We're so fortunate. We've got a great network of friends and support around us, and we've got family in town too that we're very blessed by. So we had a lot of people whom were rallying with us and whom we knew would be praying for us as well during that time. But it was great. We had Anne attends school just right across the street from our church, and we had people in our church all day long during her surgery. The
classes would rotate, and they went in the church. They all had a time, and they went and prayed the rosary during it for me throughout the whole day.
And they're sending us pictures and stuff. You think I'm crying now, you should see me that day. But
Yeah.
yeah, amazing support.
You know, it was just wonderful knowing and, you know, feeling that power of prayer of other people praying for me. You know, when I knew that I needed it, when my daughter needed it, at that point, they would just send us text updates. The one update said, okay, she's out of surgery. The doctors will be coming to get you shortly so that you can see her. And that time frame seemed like forever from when we got that to when we finally got to see her. And I'm so grateful that we did that. For me personally, that, you know, they had extubated her by the time that we got to see her, because, you know, I think that would have been even more emotional, you know, to see that. But, you know, you walk in to see your vibrant, as you, your vibrant,
At that time,
almost
10,
almost
11.
11-year-old daughter, you know, pretty out of it, you know, and again, just believing, okay, this surgery was successful. We got through this part of it, and so now it's just, you know,
Recovery.
the recovery part of it.
This was a solution for Anne. We knew we were going in and with the expectation that, you know, she'd essentially be fixed when we came out, and that really is the case. She can operate as a normal kid. She doesn't have really, I mean, we'll go back every couple of years and just make sure everything's working the way it's supposed to, but there really should be few, if any, repercussions of her situation as she grows, which is really the awesome part of the whole thing. I think the overwhelming thing was just, number one, the facility that we have right here in our backyard in Iowa City Children's Hospital is absolutely amazing. What do they call it?
The child life
Child life
specialist.
specialist. Anne was a huge fan before, during, and after.
Got a Hogwarts Lego set, like big Hogwarts Lego set from them.
You know, Anne had a great group of girlfriends who supported her. Her classmates, her teacher came, all of her class wrote cards. I guess just anybody else going through it, just to, you know, open yourself up to the other people around you too, because those other parents who are there, they know, they get it, you know, they get it a little bit.
They might be the only people that can
Right.
fully get it.
Right.
Congenital heart defects are so common in children, and we have this gift in our backyard of this premier research hospital, this teaching hospital, where, you know, money coming from the American Heart Association is going right into research, is helping to draw world-renowned surgeons into our corner of the world, so that a doctor born in Italy and another one born in Japan are coming and, you know, helping my daughter.
You just can't go wrong with a donation to the American Heart Association. It's such a high percentage of the actual dollars that go to that research to actually do something to move the mission forward. And it's a mission that it's hard to not get behind, no matter what kind of experience you've had in your life, whether you're dealing with heart a situation or somebody else in your family or a friend or somebody like that. So I just would highly recommend anyone thinking about it to make that donation today.